Good morning, friends. Welcome to Hawaii. We are back here on the beach having a party with our tourists around. We got our lightly clothed ladies, and yeah, we're having a great time here on the beach with a bit of barbecue, a bit of a beer, and a cold drink, and all those things. Oh, doesn't it just look so wonderful? Because this update is out. Alpha 19.4 stable is out. The Hawaii update. As you can see, we have blobs, jelly, jumping around, bouncing around. Oh, doesn't it jiggle, jiggle, jiggle? And that's one of the big new changes here that we are having. We're having the Mr. Jiggles here. Look at that belly. Look at that triple, double, whatever chin. It's just awesome. Gross, but it's awesome. Looks really gross and awesome. And of course, we have the old nurse. We haven't changed that in, but they have changed in the Hawaiian zombie, and he actually can jump surprisingly high. I mean, he looks really good. It's probably one of the better looking zombies that we have in 7 Days to Die, at least in my opinion. And because they added on the jiggle jiggle, I mean, it just makes it even better. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. They haven't quite turned him into the gasser that they promised to do, but hopefully that's something that they will be looking at in the future. So today I will be exploring the new patch notes for Alpha 19.4. Don't jump! Don't do it! Don't do it! That's so rude. Don't do it. Whew! I almost got swished there. I'm going to explore the patch notes and go through what they've added, what they've changed, and so you don't have to. And of course, if you enjoy my video, why not leave a like? Maybe subscribe to it as well. And check out the playlist for more of my 7 Days to Die videos. I'll link it at the top of the description. So, Alpha 19.4 B7 goes stable, and here are the patch notes, and the highlights are Fat Hawaiian HD. It's kind of rude to call people fat. I mean, he is a tourist. He's the Hawaiian tourist. But he makes his debut into a Alpha 19, the high definition version. As you probably know, they have been going through all the zombies, and the stripper is one of the new ones they have fixed as well. And now we have the Hawaiian tourist as well. And there's a bunch of them that still have to do, like, for instance, the nurse, but they're coming. They have updated the ambient sound system with new content, and that's really good. I hope they continue adding that one because it's still a little bit rough around the edges. I personally like having a little bit more ambience behind, sort of as you go around, a little bit more thematic things as you move around at night, maybe in the wasteland or the forest, etc. A little bit more of that. They have fixed the bed shared by everyone. At least nobody had to freeze. Okay, it's good that nobody has to freeze. But in this case, it's related to something slightly different. I'll go through that further below where they explain it a bit better. The long-awaited fix for AP rounds, armor-piercing rounds, finally. As I've highlighted multiple times on my channel in various videos showcasing how the AP rounds have not been working properly. Basically, they did not take into account the armor reduction that the AP round should have, which actually meant that hollow points were better than armor piercing even against heavily armored targets, which was just stupid. They've been making gamepad and controller changes as well, making that better. I do have feedback that it's not quite working as well as it should be, but hopefully it's been slowly improving. So, added ambient sound system, we went through. Added focus block to debug shot. I don't know what that is. Probably doesn't impact. They have done some changes here, so you can actually disable cursor snapping when using the gamepad, which is now the default. You can add that on your command line when you're starting the game. Since we're way past Christmas, they have finally disabled the Christmas-themed items in the loot. So whatever you have is going to remain, but you're not going to be finding any more of it. Wait for next year. Well, actually, wait for Christmas this year, rather. They've enabled the new skin for the Hawaiian zombie. Done. Store Electronics 1 chest is now unlocked. Okay, good. That's just a tweak on the POI itself. Now, here are some of the fixes. Falling debris entities cause rapid damage during fall duration. So what was happening was that as things were falling, the debris is basically entities, and they were causing a lot of damage incorrectly. So they fixed that, which means that collapse should be a little bit less damaging, even though, of course, you probably will die if you get hit in the head a lot. The AP rounds were not working as expected. I will test that in just a moment. But here comes the explosions on a bed. Changes everyone's spawn point to that bed. I had never actually experienced this, but people were coming telling me that they actually had, where there was an explosion on a bed and suddenly everyone on that server had their spawn point changed to that bed, which was of course really inconvenient if you're playing on a multiplayer server. Suddenly everyone ends up on the same bed. Not the way you necessarily want to have it. So that's been fixed. It's probably a really odd bug. They fixed that many of the ground textures are flickering, and this is something that I see now and then, especially when they overlap. You'll see this flickering, and hopefully they removed it because it's really annoying. Remove remnant blocks in Business Old Series 6, just a POI tweak. The writable storage box does not have a label on the bottom side. We'll have a look at that because I think that that's something that I didn't notice because I don't necessarily write on the bottom of it, but that's something that people were also highlighting that actually they do. They put them in the ceiling, for instance. Block palette brown box tile has an intact bottom cap, and this is something that some of the blocks actually didn't quite have things, and I guess on this at the bottom because you placed it down and they didn't put something on the bottom. Problem is when it sort of isn't fully on the block and you can see underneath, it was basically transparent. You're seeing into it from the bottom. There was an issue when you spawn in a junk sledge or turret from the debug menu and you interacted with it, you would get an NRA, which would cause problems, and that's something they fixed. It normally wouldn't happen in survival because you wouldn't be spawning things in. Previous tab, next tab keys now works while in a vehicle. Good, perfect. And here we're back to the gamepad. Now steers exclusively with the left thumbstick. Achievement for broken leg triggers now. Good. And updated item names to support achievements. Perfect. Okay, so let's have a look at, look at making the storage box here. We're going to put this up like this, and then we're going to do storage box. And the way you do this is that you craft this regular one. Hit R, do the shape, and then select the writable storage box, and then we put it down. So normally you just write on it, and you say storage. And you'll see it's got basically on the sides and on the top. I think what was missing was there was nothing on the bottom, which means that if you were putting it in the ceiling, you couldn't actually see what it was. So that was a good change. Again, it's one of those things that it's easy to miss because people tend to put it like this, or maybe in the wall, and then you don't actually necessarily notice that, hey, the bottom one is actually not done properly. Just like the palette, where the bottom is there, you have the same thing for actually, or used to have for the forge. Actually, interesting. Has that been fixed? They have fixed that one because that was definitely an issue before. There wasn't anything in the bottom. You basically look straight through it because this one was transparent or didn't even exist. Sorry, you both have to go. I need the space here. So we're going to put in, let's see here. Let's do a demolisher. So let's put in one demolisher here. Let's put in one demolisher there, and let's put one demolisher here. So these are obviously armored targets. So we're going to shoot them just, actually, let's just shoot them in the back so we don't have any blow up here. We're going to have a look at him. We're going to go into God mode so I can see. This is just a regular 9mm pistol. Going to shoot him with the regular ammo, which does 19 damage. Fine. Now we're going to reload, and we're going to go into using hollow points, which should deal less than 19. Actually, is dealing none, and which is probably about correct because it says that the target armor is going to be increased by 100%. So, yep, hollow point against this one does no damage. Interesting. Now let's go to the armor piercing, which should do more than 19, obviously, because what it says on it is that, let's have a look. It says that the target armor should be minus 20%. I believe this one has 60. So it should be counted as 40 instead of 60, which means it should be more than 19. And it is 25 damage. And this was not the case previously. Previously, this one would do 19. The regular ammo, the armor piercing would also do 19. And hollow point would do something like 21 because they had a 10% damage bonus. Let's see what it says on it. They had a, not this one. They had a 10% damage bonus on the damage for itself, which means that it dealt more damage even if they were armored. So in short, finally, there's a reason for having armor-piercing bullets. Thank you for that change, Fun Pimps. It's taken a while, but I do appreciate you guys fixing it. So what do you think about the new Hawaiian patch? Is it a good one? So we're now in Alpha 19.4 stable. And you don't have to do anything really to make stable appear. Just make sure you're selecting the latest stable version in Steam. But Do you think they'll be making more point releases for Alpha 19, or do you think that all the effort is going to go in Alpha 20? Personally, I haven't seen, I think for a very long time, any point releases going over 0.4, which means unless something really comes up, any critical issue that they have to address, or something small that they can put in without a lot of effort, I don't think there's going to be a lot more releases for Alpha 19. We'll probably have to wait for Alpha 20, where I think it's going to drop somewhere in May, end of May, ahead of Steam sale for the summer. But hey, that's my guess. What do you think? When do you think Alpha 20 is going to be coming out? And do you think there's going to be any more versions of Alpha 19 coming out? Is there going to be an Alpha 19.5? Why not let me know in the comment section below? And with that, I'm going to go for a swim here. There's a few babes, no, not you. There's a few babes out there waiting for me to join them. I'll see you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the Vedui community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.